A super team is a roster that usually has 3 or more Hall of Fame caliber players. Many of them met the people's expectations, but there are also some that miserably failed in finding success. Here are the 10 flopped super teams in NBA history. Before we begin, make sure to hit the like button if you like this content and check out my other NBA-related videos. With that out of the way, at number 10 we have the 1984 to 1985 Philadelphia 76ers. This was Charles Barkley's rookie season, and we already witnessed how he started to develop as one of the top players in the league. He played with Julius Erving and Moses Malone, who have already passed their prime. The Malone-Dr. J. Barkley trio averaged 58 points per game, with a combined 26 rebounds and 4 blocks in the regular season, winning a total of 58 games. They eventually faced the Boston Celtics in the conference finals, and they had no answer to a much stronger Celtics team. Both Bird and McHale averaged more than 20 points in the series, and the 76ers were eliminated in just 5 games. Moving on to number 9, we have the 2017 to 2018 Cleveland Cavaliers. So here's their starting lineup. This lineup looks solid to me, to be honest. This was the year where Wade joined LeBron after being bought out by the Chicago Bulls. The Cavaliers didn't have a great start, as they lost 5 of their first 8 games of the season. But they bounced back after Wade took a bench role and won 13 straight games in November to December of 2017. They eventually finished with a 50-32 record and got swept by the Golden State Warriors. Okay, for everyone's satisfaction, let's take a look at this J.R. Smith's blunder in Game 1.
Watch James. Now wanted a timeout, but too late to get it.
Next up, at number 8, we have the 1996 to 1997 Houston Rockets, composed of Hakeem, Barkley, and Drexler. These 3 are all now in the Hall of Fame, and during this season, the roster has 2 MVPs of the past 5 years. With the Rockets winning back-to-back trophies in '94 and '95, they wanted to get back to title contention and challenge Jordan's Bulls. But they didn't even make it to the NBA Finals, as they were eliminated by the Jazz in the conference finals. The Big Three had a combined average of 59 points and 28 rebounds. At number 7, we have the 2007 to 2008 Houston Rockets, led by Yao Ming and Tracy McGrady. Now, we're talking about prime Yao and McGrady here, people. This was the year where Yao Ming was starting to come into his own as a star center in the NBA, while T-Mac has emerged as one of the best scorers in the league. They finished the season with 55 wins, but they had a very disappointing playoffs as they were defeated in the first round by the Utah Jazz. On paper, the Jazz didn't really have any star power on their lineup. Let's move on to number 6. We have the 2017 to 2018 Oklahoma City Thunder, featuring Paul George, Russell Westbrook, and Carmelo Anthony. Now, we can say that Melo is way past his prime during this year, and he's going to be a defensive liability for this team. But Melo was still a pretty solid scorer and came off a 22-point-per-game season with the Knicks in the previous season. On the other hand, Westbrook just won the MVP award just 2 years ago, and we all know PG is one of the best two-way players in the league. But they had a disappointing playoffs after getting eliminated by the Jazz in the first round, which is led by a rookie Donovan Mitchell. PG was a major no-show in crunch-time situations. He played 45 minutes, scoring just 5 points while shooting 2 out of 16 from the field. That's 12%. Number 5, we have the 2007 to 2008 Phoenix Suns, led by Steve Nash, Amari Stoudemire, Sean Marion, and of course, a 35-year-old Shaq. Stoudemire was in his prime and dominating both sides of the glass, and the team actually featured 7 players that averaged double figures. They finished the season at the 6th seed after winning 55 regular season games. They were eventually knocked out by the San Antonio Spurs in the first round in just 5 games. Moving on to number 4, we have the 1998 to 1999 Houston Rockets with Charles Barkley, Hakeem Olajuwon, and Scottie Pippen. Following Michael Jordan's second retirement, it appeared that other teams would finally have a chance to win the championship, so the Houston Rockets partnered Scottie Pippen with Charles Barkley and Hakeem Olajuwon to make the most of this once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. The Rockets looked like the team to beat all year with this kind of firepower and two-way studs on their roster, but there was a lot of bad blood between Pippen and Barkley from their Suns Bull heyday. The Lakers thrashed this club in the first round because they never created any form of chemistry whatsoever. Moving on, we have the 2012 to 2013 Los Angeles Lakers at number 3. This roster is composed of Steve Nash, Kobe Bryant, Paul Gasol, and Dwight Howard. Nash could fit in almost any team because he is selfless and prefers to initiate offense over scoring. He was, however, limited by injuries resulting from years of wear and tear. He was more likely to be spotted stretching on the sidelines than actually playing on the court. Dwight was no longer the defensive juggernaut he had been at Orlando. He missed most of the season due to injury and was frequently blamed for the Lakers' losses. The team only lasted one season and was swept by the Spurs in the first round. At number 2, we have the 2003 to 2004 Los Angeles Lakers featuring Kobe, Shaq, Karl Malone, and Gary Payton. Take the core of Shaquille O'Neal and Kobe Bryant, a fearsome combo who had already won championships together under legendary coach Phil Jackson. Add in two more all-time greats, Karl Malone and Gary Payton, who are nearing the end of their careers. The Lakers should have been fantastic in 2003 to 2004. Despite the excitement surrounding the team, injuries and a lack of cohesiveness would prove to be their downfall. The Lakers managed to win 56 games. The Detroit Pistons, however, dispatched them in 5 games. Before we go on to number 1, please like this video if you enjoy this content. It will only take a second and will help this channel a lot. At number 1, we have the 2013 to 2014 Nets with Garnett, Pierce, Johnson, and Williams. In order to acquire Paul Pierce, Kevin Garnett, Joe Johnson, and Deron Williams, the Nets basically sacrificed their future draft picks and young potential. On paper, this team looked good, but Pierce and Garnett were past their prime. The Nets only won 44 games and were eliminated in 5 games by the Miami Heat. The Nets did not get a good return on their investment, despite giving up a lot of young talent and draft picks to build this super team. Not only is this the worst super team in the league history, but one of the worst trades in recent memory.